Well, now through January 24th, you can celebrate Sir Isaac Newton's birthday at the Hands-On Museum in downtown Johnson City. There are several activities and experiments that you can do very hands-on, like Newton's Nightmare and Newton's Gravity Beads. John Krekelberg is here this morning to tell us more about this new thing in the lab, and it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's fun.
As you said, you get excited when you're talking about science.
Slightly, so you may have to slow me down a little bit if I get overexcited.
You go.
But as you said, we are celebrating Newton's birthday this month. January 6th, I think, is his accepted birthday. But instead of having like 400 plus candles on his birthday cake.
Yeah, because that would be a little much and kind of a fire hazard.
Definitely a fire hazard. We're actually celebrating by having a month-long kind of Mutant Extravaganza in our Eastman Discovery Lab, where we kind of teach kids about the Newton's 3 laws of motion. And of course, unless you're really into physics or science, it's kind of hard to grasp those notions. So we have really cool little engaging interactive activities to kind of demonstrate these 3 laws.
Which there's just something fascinating about that anyway. Kids are excited and so many things that you can do to sort of illustrate that.
That's exactly right. Science is really more fun when, well, you're having fun. I mean, homework is great and memorizing.
All the kids out there are like, homework is not
everybody's
great.
frowning. No, and there's a place for that. But
Yes.
we really bring science to life at the Hands-On Museum. So it's really a fun way to bring the science to the kids, or maybe vice versa, bring the kids to science. So actually, along that line, as I mentioned, the 3 laws of motion are as follows. 1, inertia. But inertia comes in 2 parts. Of course, Newton realized pretty quickly that things don't like to move on their own. You can kind of summarize the first law as objects are kind of lazy. So here I actually have what we call Newton's inertia beads, basically shiny, sparkly beads. Would you expect them to actually start moving on their own?
No.
No, we could like lock them up in a room, literally barricade the doors, come back 100 years later, they'd still just be sitting here.
Right.
Boring. That's the first part of the first law. Objects at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an external force. And we actually, I think we have an external force here today.
We've got Aiden. Aiden is 7 years old. Aiden is here as part of a tour group, and he is going to show us how this works. So you ready to do a little science?
Yes.
All right.
All right, now Aiden, what I want you to do is take these red beads, just pull them down, nice and gently, ready, set, go. Harder, harder, go for it.
Yank them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, whoa, Aiden.
Look,
What did you do?
look at the jar. Whoa!
Nicely done it. Oh, now you made a mess in the studio. No, thank you, Aiden. That was perfect. Great job.
Very nice. Let's give Aiden a big round of applause. You can go back and have a seat. Very cool.
Thanks, bud. Good job.
He's used to tidying up after himself, I suppose.
You look so guilty. I felt so bad. No, that was perfect. So when Aiden pulled that down, actually this little tiny string of beads started being pulled down by, of course, that which pulls all of us down to Earth. Gravity. And that little pull is enough to start making those beads kind of at chain reaction jump out of the jar, which illustrates the second part. Objects that are in motion will want to continue to be in motion unless acted upon, again, by an external force.
So once we started it,
yeah, and in this case, the external force happened to be the carpet here on the floor. They're not going to keep like moving around down there. They're done now again. They're back at rest.
I hope so. Otherwise, we're going to have a whole different show going on here.
Oh, it'll be exciting.
Yeah. So that was the second, and then moving on to?
The second law itself is unique. It's I call it the Fermat law. It is an equation, force equals to mass times acceleration. And I like to think of this as, well, what makes a baseball so much easier to throw than, say, a bowling ball? It's mass. It requires more force to accelerate or move it through the air. So it's really fun. We do have a couple of experiments to demonstrate that as well. And the third law, of course, is equal and opposite. And you're demonstrating that extremely well.
Thank you.
Your weight is pushing downwards upon your stool. And the stool is actually pushing back upwards with an equal and opposite force. Opposite because it's holding you up, and equal because, well, if it was less than the force of your weight, you'd collapse to the floor. And if it was greater, it would be like an ejector seat and launch you to the roof, which...
Now that would be really
That would be an exciting experiment, too. Next time.
Are we going to do that in your lab?
Well, maybe not.
All right, so how long do we have to get in on these different lab experiments?
Yes, the lab program goes through almost the end of January, through January 24th. And we do have 4 lab programs throughout the day. So we have one at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. They are free to anybody in the museum, so it's awesome. You kind of get a little science on top of your fun in the museum.
It's so fun because we'll be going through the museum and we'll hear the announcement, and Alex is automatically up into the lab.
Exactly.
It's a great program. And it is the Hands-On Museum. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Come see us again.
I definitely will. This was fun.
And a great job, Aiden. Very nice. You can check it out at the Hands-On Museum in downtown Johnson City. Check out the website for more information as well, or you can give them a call.